Today we are going to save more than $500 on a motorized IP camera for the exterior. Greetings sailors, and welcome to a new episode of the Low Cost Sailor. In today's episode we are going to install a motorized IP camera spending less than $70. That if we choose the most expensive option, motorized with optical zoom, otherwise it will be around $30 or $40. We are going to place it on the exterior of our boat, but obviously you will learn how to place it anywhere. Therefore, it would also be useful for us to place it in your home or wherever. Those of you who follow the channel and have already seen our episodes, will you say, yet another camera? Yet another camera? Yet another camera? Hadn't you already put one inside to watch out if thieves entered and to know what was going on? Yet another camera? Well, yes, another camera. In fact, the most important one that we are going to put on the boat, and that I have a few, and above all, the one that is going to give us the most use. And what is it going to do for us? Some of you may wonder. Well, the camera that we are going to see will be installed on the outside of our boat, specifically on the top of the mast of our sailboat, but you can also choose to put it on the bow of your boat or any mast, or on the side of your motorboat, etc. And of course, on a wall in your house primarily designed for that purpose by the Chinese who created it. And regarding its utilities, the most obvious one is to watch the boat from home. When the ship is at the dock, we will see that thanks to her we will be able to see if everything is okay, the moorings in place, the sails have not left their place, etc. But also, we will be able to record everything that happens on the boat and find out if they try to steal something from us, or if our neighbor on the dock enters a little past turns, the side of the boat bursts, and he forgets to leave the paper with the insurance note. When we are sailing, it will also be very useful since, being motorized, we can make it look straight ahead, and either from the mobile or from the tablet or even from the television of the living room, we can see in real time what is happening outside. Thus we can go down more relaxed to cook something or go to the toilet. We will not go into that discussion of the term again while the ship is sailing with the automatic pilot or in the hands of a crew member in whom we do not trust too much. Of course, it will also help us so that the sails do not obstruct our vision and to be able to see very well what is happening in front of us, without having the sails as an obstacle, since it is above the mast and then it has an almost perfect vision, which in addition will also give us a very good view of the bottom when we approach the anchor, especially in crystalline waters such as those of the Caribbean or of the Mediterranean, that I think this boat will not visit ever, but I imagine it will work well. Also, when we arrive at a port, it will seem to us that we have bought the latest car model and that we can see the top-down view in which we can perfectly see our boat while we are docking, and thus we are going to touch somewhere or not. And of course, the most important function of all, which is to take pictures. Great pictures from that view above of sunsets, beaches, everything that crosses our path, and get a lot of likes in our Instagram accounts. Which, by the way, we have one that is out there in the description. Yet another camera? Well, yes. After this, if I have not convinced you that you need a motorized camera in your life, or more specifically in your boat or house, it makes me want to tell you to stop watching the video. But almost better I say that you see it in any case, that it will be entertaining, and that if you leave, you can leave by giving us a like and subscribing to the channel. That surely another day we will tell something that interests you a little more. So let's go shopping. In order to install the camera, we are going to need a few things first. The first is that we will need to have a Wi-Fi network on our boat. Here, my recommendation is that you follow the steps in our video on how to install Wi-Fi on your boat. Buy a Wi-Fi router, like the one I show you here if you don't have it yet. Any of the options will be simple, and for many of the videos and things that we are going to see, we will need to have a Wi-Fi on our boat. So I encourage you to do so. Our camera, wherever we install it, will need electricity, 12 volts specifically, so we will need enough cable to carry the electricity where it belongs. My recommendation is that we buy network cable and UTP directly from the network cables that we use in the home or office router, because it will allow us both to carry electricity and to use them to connect the camera by Ethernet instead of by Wi-Fi, which will always be a little more reliable. We will need as much cable as far as we install the camera of our router. Buy spare meters, do not skip. In order to use the network cable to power the camera, we are going to buy some passive PoE adapter cables. PoE means power over Ethernet, very cheap and useful. The relevant connectors for our RJ45 network cable and a crimper. If we don't have one, we can also cut an old one and make a more rudimentary connection. And to protect everything, a roll of self-vulcanizing tape, which will allow us to make waterproof what is not or what is doubtfully waterproof. And that's it? You will say. Are you not forgetting something? Of course, the camera. If the whole episode is going to install a camera, well, when it comes to the camera, let's focus on a couple of options. We could put a very expensive camera, like one from Raymarine specially designed for boats, which is sure to be very good, but I will never know because it costs more than $500, and it has neither Wi-Fi, nor is it motorized, nor does it have zoom. I will know about other things, but about IP cameras, I already have a few of those. The first one that I put at the top of the mast 4 years ago, it was very similar to Raymarine's, and now I have it watching the entrance of my door home. It was not Wi-Fi, it also had night vision. The big disadvantage of the camera is that it was not motorized, so if I wanted to change where I was aiming, you had to climb to the top of the mast, and at that time I did not have the scale that we have made in the video that comes out here. It was such a pain. I still have another of that style in the bow of the ship, which is what I see from the tablet when I'm sailing, and that shows me a view from the bow in the style of the previous one. But when I already thought that I was going to have to spend my life getting up and down the mast, the Chinese finally decided to lower the price of outdoor motorized cameras. For $25, you can have one like the one I have at home, for example. It works very well. The only difference with which we are going to see is that they do not have optical zoom. But we are going to focus on the two options that I used on the boat, both of which I have had on the boat, and each one has its advantages and disadvantages, as we will see. Yet another camera? Well, the first one we bought is this. You have the link in the description of our website. Geno 5X zoom, about $65. You have it without zoom for $30. This specifically is the one that I have had for a year and a half put on the top of the mast. And it is great. It has a microphone, it has a speaker, optical zoom, infrared vision. And the only problem it has is that when you expose it to the weather of the Cantabrian Sea for a long time, through this gap here with a lot of rain, a drop of water gets to enter. And that corroded the motor plate. What I have done is, I have bought another without zoom, and I have exchanged the lens part, and I have fixed it, and I intend to reinstall it. But to protect it, I have removed these screws, and on the plate inside I have put a good amount of silicone so that it does not corrode again, and that's it. A little tuning and it would be ready to go. The other option is this. Z-Link with a dome, a marvel. This one, if you look at it, is the one I have at the top of the mast because the box is empty. And its advantage, it changes the mechanism the other had. It has a dome that protects it, and instead of rotating the outer body, it rotates everything inside the protection dome. That is its great advantage. More durability, it is better protected. In return, it does not have a speaker or microphone, but the optical zoom and infrared night vision and the whole body is made of metal, much more solid. We choose one or the other, the installation process will be the same. They even use the same application. And if you choose any other, depending on whether it has a dome or not, it will be similar. So let's go with the installation. Yet another camera. We are going to start preparing everything down here. We will need the camera, our PoE adapters, our super long Ethernet cable. Well, this is a chunk, but you have to put one of 15 or 20 meters. We are going to use the one that comes with it, simply to show us how the assembly is going to be and do all the tests. We will have the antenna and we will have the power, which is 12 volts, so you can choose to use it connected to 220 or to cut the cable and connect it to the boat's battery. What is the setup going to be? Very simple. We have our camera. Our camera needs the power and it needs the Ethernet. As we want to pass everything through a single cable, the first thing we will do is use our passive PoE adapter. The Ethernet to the Ethernet, the power to the power. And then this cable goes through both the internet and the power supply. We will connect our cable, and all this part is the one that we have to leave well protected at the top of the mast. The rest will go down to the ship. And here we will have again our PoE adapter, which will separate us between the power supply and the Ethernet. We will connect the Ethernet to our ship's router wherever you can. If you have a hub like me, then to the hub, and this part will be the one that will go to the power supply. Well, with this one like this, it would be ready to go. Let's prepare everything to put it on the mast. Once everything is connected, we are going to turn it on for the first time, and we are going to add it in the application to check that everything is working correctly. We will download, while it starts, we download the Camsai application from Google Play or from the Apple Store. I already have it installed, so here he simply offers to open it. Basically, it offers us several options. Once we have the camera connected to our router, it is connected to the internet, then it is as simple as searching for a camera from LAN, for example. And if we are connected to the same Wi-Fi, it offers us the one we already have added and the new one. Once we have registered it, it appears to us as online, and we can click on it and we are already seeing the real image of the camera, even handling it. From here, for example. And we can rotate it. As we already have ours installed, we are going to do a little dramatization on how we are going to install it. And in order not to doing many things upstairs, what we are going to do is all this part, we are going to leave it connected now, and we are going to put it up already connected to the cable. We will take everything that will be exposed, we will protect it with self-vulcanizing tape. This would be our self-vulcanizing tape. I am not going to protect everything because then you can't remove it. When you place this tape, it goes like melting itself, and with this we are going to protect this connector. We are going to protect this other connector. We will protect everything. Then at the end of the cable that is going to go straight, either with our crimper, if we have a crimper and an RJ45 connector. At one end of the cable, we will strip our cables. We will put it following the color code. You can use another cable as a reference to see the order of the colors. We will connect it, and then once we have crimped it, it will be connected here. Also, before climbing the mast, we are going to leave it very well protected. In the end, we will have all this already protected with the self-vulcanizing tape, and then we will only have this very long cable, 15-20 meters, which will stand out. This is what we will have to take up to the top of the mast. Basically, we are going to install it with some rivets, as we will see now, and we will leave it in place. And this cable, we will have to make it go down to the bottom, put it inside the boat, and end up in our control panel, which without a doubt is the most difficult part, especially if you do not have the mast disassembled, you have it mounted. Let's see some tricks on how to do it. In any case, we will need a little help. While we are on top of the mast, someone will have to be down to help us. The first thing is to make a hole in the base of the mast, if you have not already made some. The most difficult thing is going to be to pass the cable through the inside of the mast. If we have a guide already in place, well, very easy. If not, the trick that I use is with a roll of thread at least. Twice the length of the neck and a screw or nut a little big through the hole. We put a wire or a flange making a circle, as we are seeing here. From above, we release the nut with the thread, and the one below will tell us when it has reached the bottom of the mast. At that moment, when it is there, we can pick up the wire or the tie, and with a lot of luck, it will have caught the thread, and then we will have it out, and we will have our guide already thrown. Now we simply tie the other end of the cable to the guide, and we can go up. First we pass the cable. Someone is pulling the guide while we let the cable run. When the cable appears, the objective is achieved. We release the wire from the guide, and from above we retrieve the guide with the nut. Now we place the camera with the rivets in place, and with some zip ties or the self-vulcanizing tape, we protect and order everything. All the cable that is exposed to the sun, better wrapped in the self-vulcanizing tape, which will protect it from UV rays. Back on the mast, and through a through-hull fitting, we will pass the cable inside the boat. Along the path we see inside the boat to the appropriate place. In our case, it will be where our router is installed, which is right on the switch panel. Once we have the cable in place, we cut what is left over and connect another RJ45 connector at the end. With this, we can now connect the other end of the PoE adapter, and there we can put the power supply. We can choose to connect it with the transformer that comes at 220. Or by cutting the transformer cable, we can connect it directly to the battery of the boat, preferably through a switch so that we can turn it off or on whenever we want. And everything is ready, so ready that we can use it to watch the ship, or as smart as the man who stole my connection cable to the port and was portrayed on camera. Do you want to see how a power cable is stolen from a ship? Well, here's the video. Well, you have already seen how useful it can be to have a camera outside, whether you install it at the top of the mast as we have it on, or if you have a motorboat, or you put it in your home. The truth is that for the price they are worth right now and how useful they are, and especially this one that we have with zoom, the truth is that it is great. The one that I currently have on top of the mast looks more robust than the one we have seen below. The only downside that I see regarding the other one is that when you orient it upwards, you cannot reach the top. It will not become completely horizontal. So when you are at the minimum degree of zoom, it is not a problem because you see many miles away, but when you zoom too much, you can only focus or you can only point something that is at most a few hundred meters away. But it does not have any other problem apart from that. Very resistant, much better looking, very well protected with the dome. Look, I already have cameras installed and I don't think this is the last, because the truth is that they are super useful both when I'm sailing and when I'm in port. Without a doubt, it is a security element, and to be able to watch when you are inside, or to be able to monitor the boat from the outside. You'll have realized how useful it is to have a Wi-Fi network on the boat and the super cheap accessories that we are going to be able to install and that we are going to be able to use and to be very useful. So I encourage you to follow the instructions in our videos and keep visiting us and watching our channel. Remember, if you liked the video, give us a like. Please subscribe. We need more subscribers to continue with this. Remember that you have all the links in the description of the video. See you on the next episode of The Low Cost Sailor. Yet another camera?